that generosity is unifying. We're talking about unity here. We're not talking about uniformity. Uniformity would be like we all have the same style of dress. We all have the same type of jobs. We all like the same type of music. We all think this is how you have to do everything. And unity is we're all united in the mission of Jesus. We have different walks of life. We have different musical tastes. We have different tastes in food and drink. We have ton of us have totally nothing in common other than Jesus. Unity is when we don't have to dress the same, but we're on the same mission and we're worshiping the same Jesus. And we're seeking that the same things would happen in the world as each other. You look at the early church and we're told the full number of them were of one heart and soul. This is the foundation of their generosity, that they were united, that there's great unity. And so I want you to see that generosity is unifying because of this, basically. When you and I are generous, when we fuel the mission of Jesus Church, part of the money that is brought in, we set directly aside into what's called a diaconal fund. And this fund means like a service fund. And the idea is that when anyone in the church comes upon hard times or comes upon a need or necessity like we see here, the church has money set back because we're all giving generously. It has it set back to meet those needs right then. We don't have to call everyone and be like, hey, we need everybody to give $20. Because this is what we see in the scriptures, that we all give generously, give faithfully, so that when needs arise, we can meet them right then. This has happened frequently throughout the life of Ekklesia. We planted the church about 2.5 years ago. I can't even count how many times this has happened where something's come up. We've had money because we give generously and faithfully. We've had money set aside to meet those needs. Some of you that are here have experienced this very thing, and you know this. And when you experience this, and when you're in a time of need, and you see that, man, because people gave generously and faithfully, my need was met immediately. This is why it's unifying, because when we give, all of us are saying, I love Jesus, you love Jesus, we're on the same mission, I love you, you love me, so let's give to the same thing so we can love each other and send the gospel forward. Generosity is unifying, and we see that clearly in the early church. Generosity leads to unity, and greed leads to division. Have you ever heard of a church arguing, possibly even dividing, over something to do with money? Heard of these things happening in churches? Happens frequently. So we have, because a lot of times, like I said, we're prone to worship money instead of worship God. So when our small God comes into the equation, we get pretty mad and we get pretty heated and we all want to defend this stuff. But think about the division that's happened in churches that maybe you've heard about, maybe you haven't. Take my word for it. Happens. You think what the underlying problem is with this fight or this division in the church is because everyone's super generous? Is everyone arguing over it? It's like, hey, I want to give all this money. And they're like, no, I want to give all this money. And they're like, no, I want to give more than you. No, I want to give more than you. And someone comes in like, break it up. Quit that. You guys are divided. No, because when you're giving, you're uniting. I can guarantee you that the problems churches have over money is not because everyone's like, I want to give more. I want to love more people. I want the gospel to go forward. It's because people are like, I want to do this. I want to do this. I want this to happen for me. I want to get this. It's greed. Generosity leads to unity, and greed leads to division. So we want to be generous, and that's a way that you can be united with the church. And that you can say, hey, every time that any of us give, we're saying, I love all of you guys. Saying, I love you and I want you to be taken care of. I want the gospel to go forward and I want you to be loved in times of need. That's what you're saying every time you give. Jesus is more important. You're more important than me. Generosity is unifying.